Go.
Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Sports Drive. We're on episode 8. Today is November 3rd. You know what that is, right?
Election day.
Yes. Everybody go out and vote. Your vote matters. It is time for a change in the United States right now. There's a lot of stuff that's going on right now that's not good. Anyway, I am your host, Ian, along with my co-host, Tanner. Tanner, how are we feeling today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh, it's 75 degrees out in November, so, it's kind of weird here in Minnesota for it to be 75 degrees in November, but
Yeah, it's just about 70 degrees here. It's supposed to be close to 70 all week. All week supposed to be high 60s most of the week, and then I think high 50s end of the week.
yeah. So, like I said, everybody get out and vote. It is November 3rd, 2020. Today on the show, we're going to talk about the NFL. There's a lot going on in the NFL right now. Trade deadline is upon us. Then we're going to transition to the NBA, and then we're going to talk about baseball, potential Cy Young winners, Rookie of the Year, batting titles, that sort of thing. And we will also talk about doing a live stream where you guys are more than welcome to join us. Ask us questions, our thoughts on, sports teams, what we think the Timberwolves are going to do with their pick. If you have any other questions on any other teams, we are here for you guys, to express our knowledge to you guys and whatever we feel, whatever we feel we need to express to you guys.
So as you said, the trade deadline came and went today. No big moves at the deadline today. Some of the trades that have happened that we haven't talked about, the Buccaneers got defensive lineman Steve McClendon from the Jets. The Jets got a 2022 sixth-round pick. The 49ers got edge rusher Jordan Willis from the Jets for a sixth of the same year. The Ravens acquired Yannick Ngakoue from the Minnesota Vikings for a third and a conditional fifth-round pick. The conditions on that pick were, had Minnesota won the Super Bowl, it would have been a third. Or if Baltimore wins the Super Bowl, it's a third. If they miss the playoffs, it's a fifth. The Cardinals got Marcus Golden from the Giants for a 2021 sixth. We talked about Everson Griffin being traded. Carlos Dunlap, longtime Bengal traded to Seattle for lineman B.J. Finney in a 2021 seventh. The Steelers acquired linebacker Avery Williamson and a 2022 seventh for a 2022 fifth. The Titans got all-pro corner Desmond King from the Chargers for just a sixth-round pick. The Saints acquired linebacker Quan Alexander from the 49ers for Kiko Alonso and a conditional fifth. The Dolphins traded Isaiah Ford to New England for a 2022 seventh, and Kansas City traded DeAndre Washington to Miami.
Man, I think Tennessee really bolstered their cornerbacks getting Desmond King.
Yep.
That guy is really good. Watching him, being in the AFC West, my Broncos and everything, they got a guy who, can be a lockdown cornerback for, the next 5 to 6 years. So Mike Vrabel is doing something right there in Tennessee. He's got that team really believing in themselves that they can win games. So
Yeah, I know the Packers were really interested in trying to get a receiver. They tried to make a push for Will Fuller, but the acting general manager for Houston was asking for a second-round pick, and the Packers weren't willing to do that for a half a season with Will Fuller because there's no guarantees that he's going to re-sign there. Jimmy Garoppolo is out 4 to 6 weeks. He has another high ankle sprain. He could miss the rest of the year if he needs surgery. George Kittle, he could be out the season with a broken foot. Andy Dalton's going on the COVID list. The Cowboys are considering signing Cooper Rush off their practice squad and probably starting him over Ben DiNucci. The Bucs have activated Antonio Brown today. He can practice starting tomorrow. Juju Smith-Schuster and James Conner both got fined $5,000 for wearing their socks too low. They were wearing high top shoes, and they were like tucked inside of the shoes where you couldn't really see them. I don't think that's really a big deal. John Elway and Joe Ellis of the Broncos have both tested positive for COVID-19. Stephon Gilmore, who was expected to be traded at the deadline, did not get moved. The Patriots were asking for a first and a player. No team was really willing to offer that. Let's see, what else is there for news? Looks like that's about it. Did you get to watch any of the game last night?
I watched just enough to know that I won in my fantasy league again this week. So
Daniel Jones, man, he's really bad. If the Giants end up with the top 5 pick, there's no way they don't go QB. Daniel Jones isn't the answer. The last play where people claim it was a controversial flag pickup, that it shouldn't have come down to the refs deciding that game because he had his receiver wide open for a good 2 yards and didn't even see him. And it was his first option. And Winfield comes running in and makes the game-saving pass breakup. And people are complaining DPI, but even the rules analyst was saying that this play was so close that even if you could still review pass interference, they'd have to go with what the ruling on the field was because it's such a close play.
Yeah. I haven't really ever been a big fan of Daniel Jones. I thought it was a huge mistake when the Giants took him. Him only playing he only played 1 year technically of college football.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then, coming to the NFL and, playing on an already depleted New York Giants football team, you're going to struggle. The NFL is a different game than college, so.
Oh, yeah, just ask that to guys like Troy Smith. Troy Smith, one of the best college quarterbacks. Same with Tebow. 2 of the best college quarterbacks since 2000. Heisman winners. Didn't really do anything in the NFL. I mean, Tebow had a better career than Troy Smith, but neither really did anything as a quarterback.
I mean, it's the same thing with Robert Griffin III, too. I know a lot of his stuff was injury prone, but I think he got into the wrong system in Washington with Mike Shanahan when he got drafted, and he wasn't used right. He hasn't been used right. How about that Denver Broncos game on Sunday? Drew Lock leading the comeback in the fourth quarter, and KJ Hamler getting his first NFL touchdown on the game-winning drive.
Yeah, weren't you guys down like 20 at one point?
Yeah, we were down. Yeah, we were down 20, I believe, and then we ended up winning 31-30. There was Drew Lock struggled a lot in that game, but when it counted at the end of the game, he put on a show. Be interesting to see what they can do against Atlanta this week.
Both quarterbacks kind of struggled that game. You could see early on that Justin Herbert was kind of upset because it wasn't as easy as the other games have been for him. But that's to be expected. Denver's defense is a lot better than some of the other teams they've gone up against. Like New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans has a decent front seven, but their secondary isn't great.
Getting Quan Alexander is definitely going to help that linebacker core. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it's insane because Quan Alexander is literally one of the I'd say he's probably a top 20 linebacker in the NFL, and he literally sits on the bench because they have
agree.
Fred Warner. And Fred Warner's a monster out there.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be a monster in New Orleans. I think Quan Alexander's going to, get his opportunity to play and show everybody why he was drafted where he was drafted. So,
yeah, and then moving on to the Vikings game, hell of a showing by Dalvin Cook in that offensive line on Sunday. Cook, 163 yards and 3 touchdowns rushing, 2 catches for 63 yards and a touchdown. Dude just killed it out there.
Yeah, he almost lost me my fantasy this week.
Yeah. Somebody in my fantasy league had Mahomes and Dalvin Cook, and that's like 100 points combined from those two alone.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill had a good week for me this week, so hopefully he can keep that up.
Scores and stats in the other games. Cowboys versus Eagles, Sunday night game. Oof, that was a really, really terrible game. Ben DiNucci, 21 of 40, 180 yards, no touchdowns or interceptions. Wentz, 15 of 27, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Travis Fulgham, 6 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown for Philly. For Dallas, Michael Gallup led the way, 7 catches for 61 yards. Dallas looks lost out there without all their guys. They're totally lost without Dak. It's bad.
Zeke looks really lost without Dak.
Yeah, I think losing all these pieces on the offensive line too hasn't helped Zeke, but I mean, not everybody can run behind an unreal offensive line. Just ask Dalvin Cook. He puts up great numbers, and he hasn't really had a top-tier offensive line ever.
That dude's like a bowling ball, though, so.
Moving on to the next game was Saints versus Chicago, which went to overtime. Drew Brees, 31 of 41, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara led the way with 67 yards rushing and 9 catches for 96 yards and no touchdowns. Without Michael Thomas, it's pretty clear that he's their number one target. Obviously, good reasoning behind it too. Alvin Kamara has been lights out all year. For Chicago, Foles 28-41, 272, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Montgomery had 21 carries for 89 yards. Allen Robinson, 6 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Nick Foles just is not a good quarterback anymore. He had that good, 4 or 5 game stretch for Philly, got that massive contract from Jacksonville, and he's just like, hey, screw it, I'm just going to play bad and take my money.
Yeah, well, and I think he's more of a playoff quarterback than he is a regular season quarterback. So,
49ers versus Seahawks. Nick Mullins, who took over for Jimmy Garoppolo, was 18-25 for 238 and 2 touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk led the way with 8 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. For Seattle, Russell Wilson was 27-37 with 4 touchdowns and 261 yards to go with 6 carries for 23 yards. DK Metcalf led the way receiving, 12 catches, 161 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Not surprising that he had a big game. Him and Lockett just seemed to be trading off big games.
that guy's an animal. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of him with like his shirt off and stuff. The dude looks like he's built like a brick shithouse, dude.
I know. Rams versus Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa gets his first win in his first career start, 12-22 for 93 yards and a touchdown. Myles Gaskin led the way with 3 catches for 16 yards. For the Rams, Goff was 35-61, 355 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Cooper Kupp led the way, 11 catches for 110 yards. Dolphins had a touchdown in passing, rushing, returning, and on defense. So they literally had a touchdown all 4 ways you can score. And one of the better games of the day, the Steelers beat the Ravens 28-24 on a last-second Hail Mary deflection by, I think it was Mika Fitzpatrick who deflected it. Big Ben, 21-32, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. Juju led the way, 7 catches, 67 yards. For the Ravens, Lamar was 13-28, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 208 yards. J.K. Dobbins had a breakout game, 15 carries, 113 yards. Willie Snead led the way with 5 catches and 106 yards. Titans-Bengals. Surprise of the day, the Bengals upset the Titans 31-20. Tannehill 18-30, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Henry 18 carries, 112 yards, and a touchdown. Corey Davis 8 catches, 128 yards, and a touchdown. Burrow 249 and 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins led the way with 6 catches for 78 yards. Colts beat the Lions 41-21. Chiefs, unsurprisingly, dominated the Jets 35-9. Raiders beat the Browns 16-6. Bills beat the Patriots 24-21. And Panthers on Thursday night had beat the Falcons 25-17. That game ended with a Teddy Bridgewater interception, unfortunately.
Yeah, hopefully these games just keep getting better and better as the season continues along. A lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of ugly in the NFL this year, just like in any of our professional sports. It's just a different year. People just have to continue to get used to what's going on. So,
on to the NBA. The 76ers are expected to pursue trading for James Harden. They just recently got the new head coach, Doc Rivers, and new general manager, Daryl Morey, who was the Rockets GM in the past.
I've heard speculation that I heard like a trade rumor saying that if Philly trades for Harden, that Minnesota will trade the first pick to Philly for James Harden.
Really?
That's what an article that I've read on Facebook.
Wow. There's still no start date set for the NBA. Adam Silver told teams they're, quote, running out of time as the league and NBPA struggle to agree on a start date. They want to start December 22nd, but it's starting to seem like that's not going to happen. I'm assuming it's probably going to be MLK weekend now. Warriors got their new We Believe style Oakland uniforms. It's a modern twist on their uniforms they had in the Jason Richardson era. Well, actually, Jason Richardson and Baron Davis era. Mark Cuban gave an update on Delonte West. He said it's an uphill battle for him, but he's climbing and he's doing well. Kevin Durant has said he believes that Chris Paul is already a Hall of Famer. I would definitely have to agree with that. Chris Paul is one of the best point guards to ever play and one of the best players in the modern era. Lots of players have come out talking about the importance of voting this past week, most specifically J.R. Smith and Udonis Haslem. J.R. Smith is probably the last guy I'd expect to be talking about the importance of voting, just because, he's probably too busy celebrating his championship still, drinking that Henny and smoking weed like he loves to do.
Probably forgot what day it was.
Yeah.
Just like how he forgot to shoot the ball when he was in Cleveland.
Jared Dudley said that a 50-game NBA season would, quote, be a hard no for the players.
Who's going to listen to Jared Dudley? That guy doesn't do anything. So
I mean, he is one of the heads of the Players Association.
I don't like that guy.
Let's see. Looks like that's about it for NBA news, other than, I guess, it still sounds like the Wolves are shopping the one pick. Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer has heard that Charlotte has been talking to Minnesota a lot about potentially getting the one pick. I'm not sure what pick they hold, but I guess it remains to be seen if anything happens.
Yeah, and I've heard too that LaMelo Ball's been having some real issues with interviews and workouts and stuff for the draft or whatever. And I guess that's going to hurt his chances of being one of the top 3 picks.
Yeah, I've heard all the interviews have gone really bad. Which I guess that's not really surprising to me with the family he comes from, with the kind of person his dad is, all brash and cocky, acting like he was the greatest basketball player ever, even though he only averaged like 2 minutes a game in his 4 years in college basketball.
Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Our very own Kenta Maeda is in the race in the American League for Cy Young.
Yeah. It sounds like it's coming down between him, Bieber, and Hyunjin Ryu. Ryu is one of those guys that I really wanted in the offseason to go along with Maeda. Unfortunately, he picked Toronto. In the NL, the finalists are Trevor Bauer, Yu Darvish, and Jacob deGrom. No surprise there that it's Bauer, and it's probably going to come down to Bauer and deGrom, honestly. The 2 best pitchers in the NL by far. The NL MVP finalists are Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Manny Machado. For the AL, the finalists are Jose Abreu, DJ LeMahieu, and Jose Ramirez. If I had to cast a vote, I would definitely pick Jose Ramirez, despite the fact that he plays for Cleveland. I think he was way better than any of them. Rick Renteria is a finalist for Rick Renteria, Charlie Montoyo, and Kevin Cash are the finalists for AL Manager of the Year. My guess is it'll go to Kevin Cash, taking a team with a payroll of $12.5 million for your starting 9 to the final or to the World Series. The NL Rookie of the Year finalists are, I don't know these guys, Baum, Cronenworth, and, well, I know Cronenworth. I've heard of him. I don't know Baum or Williams. The AL finalists are Wander Javier, Lewis for, it looks like, Seattle, and Luis Robert. NL Manager of the Year finalists are Don Mattingly, David Ross, and Jace Tingler. I think Jace Tingler deserves it this year with everything he did with that team.
Yeah. There's a lot of pitching on this free agent market that's coming up right now. I would like to see the Twins go after Charlie Morton and Trevor Bauer. I think should be their 2 top pitchers that they go after this year.
Little birdie told me that the Twins are going to make a really hard push to sign Chris Archer after they tried to trade for him a couple years ago when he got traded to Pittsburgh and the trade fell through. I guess they're going to try to sign him.
I would like him. And I mean, even if they can still get Bauer too on top of that, our starting rotation would be probably one of the best in baseball. If we can re-sign Jose Barrios, if we can re-sign Odo, we'd have Pineda, Odo, Barrios, Archer, and Bauer as our starting 5. And give Jose Barrios the ball. No, give Kenta Maeda the ball on opening day.
Yeah, that'd be quite the rotation there. You could win a lot of games, just winning 1-0 at that point.
Yeah. Did see that the Twins denied the option for Sergio Romo as well. Not really surprised. I don't see them bringing back Trevor May either.
I think not bringing back Trevor May is going to end up being a big mistake. Yes, he struggled at times. He had a lot of struggles, but when he even remotely had his stuff going, he was the second best pitcher out of the bullpen, and it wasn't a question because I say second best because Duffy was lights out all year. He was definitely the Twins' second best pitcher all season.
Mm-hmm. That's all I got today. Unless you have anything else.
I just have one more thing for MLB. It sounds like the players who are receiving their qualifying offer are Bauer, Kevin Gausman, DJ LeMahieu, JT Realmuto, George Springer, and Marcus Stroman. It sounds a lot like JT Realmuto might end up being traded if he does opt back in. It doesn't sound like he's too fond of Philly.
Not surprised.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, everybody, that was the show for today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your friends. Share this with your family. Share this with anybody you can, your coworkers. Tanner and I would really appreciate it. Help us grow and get our name out there. Again, we will come up with a day for a live stream. You guys can come in and ask us questions. Anything you guys want to ask us, whether it's sports related, not sports related. We'll take the time to get to know you guys, because that's what we want to do. We want to get to know our fans and to know our followers. So like, share, and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on the videos. And if you guys have any questions, any comments, put them in the comment section for us.
All right. Well, that's all I got for today, unless you have one last comment you want to make.
I got nothing.
All right.